Yeah, coming at you. Y'all hear me out there? This is what I'm talking about. We're all connected. I want you to get up on this one, alright? Come on, join us. This is how we gonna kick it. Come on, here we go. Yeah, there's a spiritual purpose. Yeah, you know how it is. The Lord Jesus Christ. Here we go.
There's a spiritual purpose.
We want us to love each other. That's what this whole thing is about, y'all. Nothing but love for you. I can hear you calling me. What? 4 months on a ship. What a trip. Yeah, what a slave. 10,000 miles away from the motherland. I can relate to that, right? What have we done wrong? We don't understand. There's a spiritual purpose. For everyone in the world, there's a spiritual purpose. Man, woman, boy, and girl, purpose. Things we don't understand, purpose. Helps us to heal the land. Yeah,
Girl, we fell in love so innocently. 9 months later, a child was born.
yeah.
You had big plans for a family. Now the father's gone. Still you stay strong. Spiritual purpose.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world, spiritual purpose.
Yeah.
For man, women, boy, and girl, spiritual purpose. Things we don't understand, spiritual purpose. Helps us to heal the land.
Sometimes we have to cry. Yeah. All the children of the world. Man, woman, boy, and girl. Things we don't understand. Yeah. Helps us to heal the land.
There's a purpose for everything. Everybody got a reason for living today. Gotta search deep inside.
Oh, yeah. Good to be back in the saddle. What's happening, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV, right here, live. We got coming in a little while, my good brother from up top, Shindig is going to be with us, dropping some new music. Obviously, I wasn't here last week, and we're going to talk a little bit about the music game and what he's doing in that game, and some of his new stuff, and just get a chance to reacquaintance myself with everybody. It's kind of funny, it's cool, but coming back and forth, on and off, whatever. So I miss you guys, man. Forgive my eyes, something like bit me or whatever. I got like, I don't know, one of those things that you get a sty, whatever. So I'm not actually turning into the Hulk just yet, although you never know. But yeah, something bit me. So it's been kind of nagging at me for a couple of days now. But yeah, welcome to Funk from the Front Seat. Smash that like button and please subscribe. Today, our very special guest, none other than Shindig. I've been knowing this brother, man, since like 1995, 96, somewhere around there. First met his acquaintance in the Village in New York, with other great bands, like Rhythm Republic, and John Willis had a great band, Groovelistic Project, and also Milo Z had a project out, and these are some of the bands I used to go watch before I was even doing Nappy Head, besides Funkin', and besides some of the other funk bands from DC, the Clones. But I used to also watch these bands, and they were like always mad cool to me, and always gave me an avenue and a voice, and gave me some guidance, that early on guidance that you need when you're first trying to put together a new project. Sometimes like you don't really know if it's going to pop or not, and you just got to take your chances, and then you meet people and they're like, yeah, okay, I feel what you're doing, whatever. So it's definitely kind of cool. Oh yeah, before I forget, repping my Knicks all playoffs long. You know how New York goes, so we got to go ahead and get this done. Let's not play around with these people from Atlanta. They're no joke. Every game is important in the playoffs. I just want to put that out there. But yeah, so Shindig's going to be coming on. And I've been knowing this brother, like I said, for a long time. And, he's definitely shared some of the better musical moments, in the underground and as far as being above ground that I have shared, in my life. Definitely as far as New York City is concerned as well. And him and I talk periodically. He's always calling, check up on me and everything. And that's mad, love right there, I appreciate that brother a lot, man. But yeah, he's going to be coming on. We got 3 of his tracks that I'm looking at that my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, was so nice enough to put in for me while I was a bit under the weather this week. But Mark is good back there, back behind the glass, scratching, always funky, always classy, never lasty. Always cool back there behind the glass, man. I love you, Mark. Yeah. So what's going on in the world? My goodness. Whew, I don't even want to tell you what it is because y'all already know what it is. It's chaos. Like I said in my video, anarchy and chaos destined on the way. I do think everything will be okay. It has to be, because that's just the way that it always ends up being okay, but to be on the safe side, I make sure I light some incense, and make sure I get some sage going here, for our ancestors. Make sure that our ancestors are with us in these trying times, Shout out to the West Coast, the East, the North, and the South, all around the world for the funk, everybody out there that's dealing with some things in life. If you had a transition, or if you had, anniversary, or, anything like that, you want to think about, just know that we're with you on Funk from the Front Seat right here, 9 on the Grind TV. We love you guys. And what you feel, we feel, yeah. So whatever you feel, we feel it. Trust me. If there's a special day or something that we miss, please hit me up and let me know, and I'll try to fit it in for you. There's so many specialty days now and specialty months, and so many things to think about, you know. Sometimes it's great, but then sometimes it just is a distraction from the reality of what really is, you know. And sometimes I think that reality of what really is important as well, you know. Get my sage going right here. Much better, much better. But yeah, we plan to do it big in the month of May coming up, of course. It's our anniversary month. It's going to be like 6 years, so that's hard to believe right there. It's going to be 6 years, which, like I said, I never would have thought we would have been doing this that long, or even if people would have been digging it that long, or you know the amount of people that we would have had on as a guest, and you know all that good stuff. You know, so uh, that's pretty cool. You know, I'm really happy about that as well. I know my producer Mark is happy about that as well. We talk about that all the time. You know, like wow, 6 years of just every Saturday putting out content. You know, sometimes it's a rerun, but yet we put it out, make sure it's there. And most of the time, that's my producer, Mark. So, Mark, I got to thank you for that. Hold on. Let me make sure I give you the proper applause. It's for Mark. Yeah. Whew. I can feel like I'm run down a little bit, but it's okay. I'm going to power through this show no matter what. It's okay. It doesn't matter. The funk will survive just like it always does. Shout out to Cindy K. What's up, Cindy? How are you? Shout out to everybody on the West Coast taking the time to get up early and hang out and chill with us and all that good stuff. Um, Angela, shout out, you know, Motherfunkaholics. I saw you guys over there. Shout you guys out in DC when we was up there. No, sorry, in Florida. My bad. In Florida when we was down there. Um, I missed you guys, man. It was good to see you, Jeffrey Pure Funk Mitchell. Definitely good to see you. George DeFunkavinci and April. You know, good to see you guys and you know everybody down in Florida that was down there. Sonia and the whole crew. You know, it's good to see everybody down there hanging out. What else is going on in the world besides anything that we don't want to talk about? You can see I'm trying to avoid it. Oh, shout out my new friends. Hope you're feeling better. Hope your back is better. Tim, love you. Shout out. Ginger, hope you're watching. Love you. Shout out. All the people that are dealing with something in life right now, and we don't know what they're dealing with because you just never know. So you can't really judge or say anything about a person. And we were talking about this 2 weeks ago because you just never know what a person is going through, what a person is dealing with. So just always keep that in mind as we try to push out all of the kindness that we can, because right now people are going to need it more than ever. You know, that's why we continue to push this music show out, and then try to pump out positive vibes and energy, and because that's what the world needs right now. So that's what we're going to continue to try to do. Yeah, I like the smell of this incense too. Mhm. So, what else is going on besides what we know to be true? And unfortunately, uh, we are at a war, in a war, involved in a war, in a conflict, whatever you want to call it. It's not really good to be involved in conflicts over and over again, that means the definition of insanity. You really haven't learned anything if you continue to do the same thing over again, expecting a different result. So um, maybe this planet just isn't really ready to elevate rather. Maybe we're just not there yet. Maybe individually, but maybe as a planet. And I think we have to go as a planet. We can go individually as well, but I think it's going to have to be as a planet for sure. Um, I think that's going to have to be one of the main um, things that's going to have to happen over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. I just seen my man pop in back there. I see he got his swiggery tiggery tag on. He got his dope riz on. We're gonna bring him in. It's good to see this brother. I haven't seen him in a while. We talk periodically. So, without further ado, bringing this funk for you. My dog, my good friend, my funk brother, you know, my guy from up top.
Can you hear me?
House.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We do hear you.
Okay, great.
Trying to get you in on the camera here. Hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 minute.
Sure.
There you go.
How's everybody doing?
There we go. How you
How's
doing?
everybody doing? Glad to be here.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I couldn't find a spot to set up. I almost set up in the car.
It's all right.
Because my wife and I
no fine constraints here.
My wife and I share the same office space, so I thought she had something to do. So I figured I'd set up elsewhere. So it was just a bit of a,
It's all good, bro.
But anyway, glad to be here, man.
You and me both. Mark will be joining us at some point. He's busy in the background doing something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's going to be in though, but he's busy doing something.
All right, cool.
I'm just trying to make sure I get my mic settings where they need to be. Lately, I've been having some issues. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm having hearing issues or what. Yeah. It's been like this, I don't know, for the past couple of months now. So I think it's about time I go get my ears checked.
Well, how's your health, man? How's everything?
My health is good, bro. Everything is good, man. It's no complaints with that. Constantly going for my blood work, and so thanks for asking. Yeah, everything else is good. It just keeps chugging along.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm good. Just what am I doing? Well, I'm trying to promote this album, and otherwise than that, health is good, family is good. This is really it. Just trying to stay in the game. Come up with new ideas. One of the things that I really want to concentrate on is playing live. I need to get caught up in that, as a means of what it is that I do, but also just to get away from so much other stuff. I just want to get swallowed up and just not have to deal with so many things that are around us. It's just, it is not uplifting every day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a lot, but things are good, man. Things are generally good.
Could you turn up your volume a little bit, or either just speak up a little bit louder?
Oh, yeah. Let me see. How can I volumize here?
I heard you, but I just want to make sure that my peeps can hear you, whatever. Okay. But I know a lot of it is me. Like I said, I can tell over the past year, I'm man, oh man, I have to ask people, hey, what'd you say?
Yeah. How's this?
But I fully expect that to be happening.
Yep. Is this much better?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. but that's just part for the course of being an artist, being around loud music all the time, man. You know.
Yeah.
Do you ever
Yeah.
have any issues like that or any problems with your hearing?
No, I have not. I remember this one time we played a gig, but this was way back like in 91 or 92. We were playing at this place called New Frontier, which was on the corner of I think it was University and 13. This where the old James Brown used to play in this club. It was a Fridays, one of those the franchise Fridays, the restaurant, but it was called New Frontier, and historically it was an old Schraff's ice cream parlor, and has an iguana on the top, or had an iguana on the top. But everyone used to play there. Milo used to play there. Dryer Brothers used to play. Everybody, but we played this gig, and I didn't realize how loud we were, because we were just pumping, and we had to play one of those marathon gigs. And I came out, and my ears were just ringing. I had tinnitus for like a day, and then it went away. That's the only time I can remember having problems with my hearing, just at one time. But beyond that, before and after that, never.
Oh,
You
man.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure because like being a drummer and always sitting by one of the main, like largest, actual monitors,
Yeah.
all those years. And I used to think back, man, I used to be like, oh man, I know one day that's definitely gonna take its toll on me,
Well,
because when
it's
you're
funny.
doing it, you just doing it.
Yeah.
But I used to always say to myself, man, this has got to not be any good.
I gotta tell you, any group I've been in, particularly mine, I was never one of the members that said, "Could you keep it down? Could you turn?" Never. Because when I was a kid and I was listening to my Jackson 5 records, I would turn it all the way up. I'd have my ear up against volume, and that was satisfying to me. So I did that since I was 10 or 11, just putting my ears up to the speaker and just,
Right.
it's not so much hearing it, but just feeling the power of
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
instrumentation, and particularly Michael's voice, So I've always been used to and enjoyed listening to loud music. It's never
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
bother for me. And that's why New York, being in New York was never that was a sweet spot for me, because I enjoyed the noise. I enjoyed
yeah,
the people, the horn, the traffic, somebody saying, "Get the F out the way," just all of that was a soundtrack or a symphony to me.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
enjoyed hearing people speak. I enjoyed their accents, their frequencies. I mean, New York was the best place for noise.
yeah,
The
yeah. You
best
you
place to
said
be for noise.
something a minute ago that was really interesting, which power that you enjoy when you put your ear to something, enjoy the power of it. And I've always understood it to be that, but
Mhm.
never had quite heard it said like that, where I could really totally relate, because that's something I'm always looking for is more power. Like,
Yeah,
how much more powerful can it be? Like, will it knock me? Will it
and
lift me to air? Will it push me? Um, that's
and and
interesting.
and I noticed that, looking back on all the material that I've recorded. I mean, I'm not a sound engineer. It's I get by, and out of lack of choice, I've had to take care of my own recordings. But I've noticed in my experience, a lot of times in the studio, I've actually enjoyed the rough mix more than I did the final mix, because a lot of engineers tend to be very clean, and they take away the performance of it. So you get all the good levels, and you bring this down and you sweeten this up and you clean this up and everything, but it loses the character. And that's what sometimes I would go home and listen to the rough mix and find out, says, "Shit, what happened? Something's gone here, So
Yeah.
with my mixes, it may be a detriment to me, but I know that I have to feel that same kind of like oomph, like it's coming at you. And I don't know, I don't have a technical way to go about it. I just go by what I hear. I'm sure if somebody who was more experienced, had way more technical knowledge of sound and everything, would mix my records differently, and I'd probably be pleased. But for how I hear things, this it comes across a certain way, and I don't know how that may appear to other people, but it's a requirement for me to just feel the vibe, the music, to feel the performance of like somebody who's singing really in a strong, let's say a gospelly way. You have to be careful not to take that performance and that character and that vibe from the performance in the interest of what sounds proper, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's kind of a it's I think that's what makes the difference when you hear a lot of producers, legendary producers who are up to, let's say for instance Sly or even Maurice White. They do not lose that power in their music in the studio. So when you hear them live, it's really the mix may be different, but the power is there, you know. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think as time went on, especially in the 90s, I think it began in the 80s, but I think in the 90s, I think rhythm and blues or R&B just it I think what it went through was a spit shine. It
Mhm.
came seriously polished.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks like a lovely piece of furniture with no scratches or anything. It doesn't have any kind of antique feeling to it. It's just
Yeah. It definitely. There's definitely a difference. I noticed, and every we all talk about this a lot, and don't forget. Funk from the front seat, nine on the grind TV. Smash that like button and please subscribe. Welcoming everybody. Our guest today is Shindig, longtime guest, longtime friend, brother, Funketeer. You name it, he's done it in the game of this music thing. Got new music out that we're going to check out as well today. And we welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in and for hanging on our crazy schedule. I know we've been in and out, but we got to keep the funk rolling. However you can get it, you can get it. Um, so when it comes to like the digital as opposed to analog, I know I was telling somebody I had an old Yamaha tubes, stereo that I
mhm.
had gotten, and I still have it, and it's like I got to clean out the pots, but it still actually works, and I
Yeah,
got the Yamaha original speakers to go with it, and they're a little ratty right now, but if I actually put it all together, it actually does perform, and you can hear the difference like right away.
yeah,
Like if I put on an album or if I put on a CD, and I'm saying like the original, like when they first started making CDs, because they don't even make those. They stopped for a while, as you know, making the same quality of CDs.
yeah,
But it still has that quality, that warmth. And now when I listen to something on Spotify, even my own music,
yeah,
I listen to it and it's great. I love it, but it's just like, it's not.
yeah,
It's like it's so compressed. It's too compressed. You
yeah,
know, it doesn't leak. There's no bleeding. There's no leakage.
yeah. One of the things I love about all the recordings that we grew up with, there's so many mistakes in there, and they work.
Yeah,
They just work, man. They just left it in. So,
I think.
I've
Oh, go ahead.
no, no, I was just saying, it was never. I'm not that strict in the studio.
Yeah,
There's certain things that happen that just add to it. And it's. I think funk and R&B cannot lose what is raw. I think if you clean it up too much, it just sounds um uncultured. That's all I can say. It just
Yeah,
sounds,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I like to say organized chaos,
Yep.
because even though sometimes I'll have a complete structure or whatever, and I have my idea, but then once I hear something and it feels good, that's exactly where I'm gonna let it take me. Um, Only because like I'm afraid like if I don't go down that path, I'll never get it again.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? If it's taking me down this path, it must be for a reason. Let me just ride with it. And then sometimes I do regret it because I'm like, but that really wasn't what I wanted. But maybe this is what I wanted. So
Hmm. Yep.
it's crazy like that. It's crazy like that. With your new material that you have, that you've been letting me hear and everything. What was some of your inspirational reasons and inspirational um, things that you drew from to start putting out this new batch of music?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I'm like trying to think through. I don't think there was anything in particular, and I don't think it was any one thing. I think what happens is that it's probably material that I was recording simultaneously as I was doing my last album, and it just kind of worked out. The All right, no, let me put it this way. The last album I did, which was called Indigo, was kind of mellow in its feel. I put a lot of songs that were semi-acoustic on there, had a different kind of feel, and that kind of, if I were to give someone an example so they'd understand, is kind of like Crosby Stills, jazz, Glenn Miller, kind of, just not up, out of control music. It would be like I'd call it the acoustic album, the electric acoustic album, so to
Right,
speak.
right,
There are a couple of reggae songs on there and everything, but it definitely was not a funk album. It was mellow R&B, or it was mellow rock, or mellow jazz, or even mellow reggae. Um, Much more in its delivery than it was the makeup of the music itself. With this album, it's definitely up here. It's high. It starts off with a cover of That Lady by the Isley Brothers. Then it goes into this Brazilian kind of song. It's definitely an up album. There are no down moments in it.
right,
And
right, right.
I think to answer your question, I wanted something that was opposite to what I did before. That's probably the way I should answer your question.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
just opposite to what was there. So I chose these songs and kind of thinking like, if I were to just perform this album alone in concert, I'd want everybody on their feet. So that's what it was.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
wanted some things in there that I thought were maybe somewhat, from what people would see, uncharacteristic of what I do. So I threw things in there that I think were kind of new for me, unfamiliar. Excuse me. And to be quite honest, I really like the way it travels. So always liking the last thing that you've done kind of makes you forget what you did before. You don't have to rely on them. You appreciate having that body of work, but the newest thing is what just propels you. So I really want to get behind this album, and I even love the cover, which
Right, right.
my wife designed. That wasn't my original idea, you know. But one of the things I wanted to do was, and we used AI to create it. I wanted to, I thought to myself, let me step up and use make use of this technology somehow, you know. So it just
It's
kind of
there.
came
You might
together.
as well.
Yeah, you know. And I this time I didn't want to wait 2 or 3 years when something new came along to get into it like I've done before. So I wanted to hop on it right away. So I was very pleased with the front cover. Um, a lot of people liked it. I don't know if it may have been misleading to them because I think it gives a sense of calm, like walking towards water. New York City's in the background. There's a puffy love sign in this, and I'm not even facing the crowd. I have my bass guitar with me and everything. So looking on it, you wouldn't think up tempo music, but sometimes one thing doesn't have to do with the other. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just throw things against the wall and it's stuck. And if the front cover alone pulls people, makes them inquisitive, then that's good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
and I wanted. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and the and the first song I wanted them to hear was something that everyone was familiar with, which is the cover of "Who's That Lady," which I know everybody loves. And I can only hope they love my version of it. So it
Yeah.
pulls them in right away. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I know we got a couple of them on there. We've listened to that one in the past, but I couldn't
Mhm.
wait to hear these other three new ones that was
Yeah.
different. Because now my personal, like Brazil, um, it was something about the way you approached this particular style of music that you're doing, and it still had your moniker on it. It still had your branding, but it took me in a whole different place, right? And it was mad cool. I was happy because every time I listen to something that you do, excuse me, my ears are completely clogged. So if I'm
Yeah.
speaking funny, it's not you, it's me.
No.
But every time I listen to something that you do, um, it takes me to like a whole nother creative spot, and it's very inspiring, man. It's very, very inspiring, your music,
Thank you.
and
Thank
I've
you.
always told you that from day one. So it's great. We're gonna check some of that out, and get into, obviously, we're not really into the whole political thing and what's happening around the world, but it is affecting music because I read somewhere, I don't know if you saw this, that um, Spotify is entwined with this lawsuit about the music that's coming out and who can put it out and who can't, who owns it, and who does it, and they're entwined.
I
Yeah, there's
heard.
this
Yeah,
big
I heard
battle
something
right
along
now
those lines.
because
Yeah.
I don't. You saw that, right?
Yeah. I think I heard.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't
yeah,
see it, but someone told me. So you're either the
yeah,
second or
yeah,
third person
and
to
it's
mention it to
fresh,
me.
and it's definitely going to affect how we get paid because we're already getting paid peanuts. You
Oh
know what I
yes.
mean? So yeah, and I was paying attention to that because now they redid the lawsuit again, and they're like saying, hey, this has just always been wrong that artists get paid a fraction of what the music is worth and what they should get paid. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's something to keep an eye out. And I've been trying to follow it. I've been kind of, swamped, whatever, but I got to lean back into that because I know you're on Spotify. I'm on Spotify. Everybody I know is on one of these
Yeah.
platforms or another, right?
Well, it's not surprising to me because from even the days, this whole business is not designed to benefit us. It's we're working for peanuts. I mean, when we go back to the clubs and to see how even back then when the club scene was big and the reluctance to pay us well for a night's job, it was always that quibbling. We're working for the door, we're working for less than the door. It's the always the attitude was we don't want you to have too much, but we
Yeah.
want you to put in too much work. We just don't want you to have too much compensation, if any. And any compensation you get has to be your doing, you know. But I've always taken it as this thing of like, now we don't respect music enough to pay you for what you do because it's not a real job. That's the way it's always appeared to me. From the days of hearing my relatives, and I think with anybody else, when someone has this thing of like, so how's that music thing going? It's it's this kind of thing like,
I
well,
know.
you know what I mean?
It's an insult.
Yeah, it is. And you just have to like sit there and just like, it's going well, you know,
Right.
and just say, one day you'll see, but it pushes you to work harder. But people don't realize that as musicians, how hard we have to work. It's the creation of the music. It's the fact that it's on your mind every day. It's working a 9 to 5 while you're doing music and having to rehearse your band and trying to pull people in to do your thing. It's a lot of work. And I know I can speak from experience, having had a self-contained band in the 90s with people who we all shared one common goal and turned up at rehearsal after work 3 times a week and then doing gigs. It is a lot of work, you know and if you work so long on it and you feel like you're not getting what you dreamt of, record companies looking you over or not giving you your proper due, it can tend to feel like initially like you wasted all this time, you know
Yeah.
and because it's not that you're not good, it's just it's really about opportunity and luck. Knowledge
Yeah.
is one thing, experience is another, and so on and so forth. But man, if you don't have someone pointing at you and say, I want you and I'm willing
Yeah.
to do right by you, it's a struggle. And you you
Yeah,
you
it is.
really
I
have
actually
to.
was one of them crazy people because I love to rehearse. I
Mhm.
used to just love the fact of putting something new together and always, you know, just being the first one there, the last one to leave, just because I just didn't want to miss anything, you
Yeah.
know. And I think it's just the love of music that had me like that. I tell people all the time, listen, if I wasn't getting paid, I would do it for free.
Yeah.
Because I just love the fact that how it makes others feel and how it makes me feel.
And people don't realize that when you're the coordinator or the leader of a project, how much work goes into that. You
Yeah,
know, a lot of people will fight you as a leader, but they're not going to take on the task. And they don't realize that, listen, I'm dealing with a lot here. And the more successful you get, it's the more that I'm going to have to deal with. You can walk in and pick up your instrument and play, and you can know where you're going to be in a hotel and whatever food is coming to you and all of that. But trying to organize that and get that all together, that is work.
oh yeah,
That is total work. So I don't think band members at times realize, or bandmates don't realize that, when you know, kind of get agitated in rehearsal and you're making it difficult for everyone, you're not realizing what we're doing here and what it takes. You know,
yeah, that's right.
take on the position yourself, and you'll find out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
People do
so
take it for granted. I deal with the
true.
same thing sometimes, you know, and I try not to always go there, but sometimes you're in a space where you're like, listen, if you just only knew just what has to happen to get this done.
Yeah,
Imagine all the other stuff that you don't even see me doing behind the scenes just to get that done.
yeah,
It's like and it's sad sometimes when people don't understand the amount of work that goes into it. But you can't expect them to know. But sometimes it would be nice to hear like, hey man, that was nice, or
yeah,
hey, you put a lot of effort to that. I could tell,
yeah.
but it's the hat we wear, right?
Oh yes. Oh, listen. One thing I want to mention, as you mentioned, the Brazilian Civilian, that track. One of the reasons that track in particular is so special to me, it could not be the track it is if it weren't for the lead singer on it. Her name is Alke Bulan. She's one of the most fantastic vocalists anywhere. I can safely say that she is one of the most brilliant singers on the planet. And she would give a lot of well-known people a run for their money. There are a lot of women that are local that don't get the due. And they're serious vocalists. Now, the vocal section she did, the solo, which is what I was one, that's her brilliance. You know, I restructured it and everything, but she has the presence of mind to go places with her voice, as opposed to staying in one area that some singers tend to do. They can't hear beyond a certain part of the scale. This woman soars. So in addition to doing the regular line, which is a na 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 na, when I said, listen, I need you to do a vocal solo on this that sounds percussive and will just go for
Great
it.
track.
And she knew what to do. And that track is 100% because of her. There's some women that I could have gotten to do it, but they probably wouldn't have done anything as interesting as that, and it would have been a struggle. But she understood what her instrument needs, and she put it out there, and she can adapt to any style that you throw at her.
Yo, I loved it, man. I listened to that track and I was like, this is very, very slick, you know. Had all the elements of your normal self in it, you know, and then some other things that, you know, I'm sure you would just like saying, listening and hearing. And so we're going to get to that in a minute. We're hanging out with my friend, my brother, Shindig, Dig Deep, and all the accolades would fill up this room if I could give it to this brother, because, you know, he's been there, done that, and then some, you know. But before we actually get to this new music or some of this music we're going to drop, I definitely want to thank P-Funk Radio and everybody that was down in Tallahassee, Gabe Gonzalez, Robin Circular P, Sonia Murphy, Larry Funkster Jones, Kenny Jones, just like everybody that was down there, Keith Jackson, and, you know, that came through and, you know, was to help pushing that funk fest that, you know, George was doing down there. And it was really nice. And, you know, hopefully next year we'll see how it goes and see who's on it. But, you know, I just wanted to give that a special shout out as well. And then also, you know, Bootsy and Patty, of course, you know, Mark, my producer, of course, you know, and I wanted to say April Panthers, I got new glasses so I can actually see now what I'm looking at. Tony Cam and the Funk All-Stars, Oak City Music Collective, Paula, Incredible Management, Afterglow 92416, Q&A Entertainment, Brooke Clagett, Patricia Dioria, Curtis Wilcox, and George DeFunca-Vinci, Aquarius Rising Art, and DeFunca-Vinci artwork, as well as Curtis Wilcox art, Dr. Brookenstein, DJ Cocalino in Italy, DJ Elizabetha in Ireland, and DJ Monica in Switzerland. Thank you so much. David Webb, Funk Chronicles, thank you so much. In Dayton, Ohio, and all the Funketeers and Club Funketeers around the world. Tim Kinley, it was finally good to actually see you again and get a picture with you. So send me that picture. That was really nice. And everybody else that came through, like I said, it was an incredible week. I'm still kind of getting my bearings underneath me. Today, we're hanging out with Shindig. We'll get ready to run one of his songs, one that I really, really like. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and check this out. And let us know what you think. Remember, Funk from the Front Seat, not on the Grind TV, every Saturday, 12 p.m. and 9 a.m.
Na 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 na. Na
You understand? I am always blown away by her performance. She's just not. I didn't want her to just be this singer on the record. I wanted her to be a part of the orchestra. I wanted her to be an instrument, you know, and I hope I achieve that. But man, let me tell you, this lady gives me the willies. And
You know, just the amount of energy and the amount of directions and different colors and vibes that song just takes you through. That's why it's one of those type of songs where you have to listen to it. Kind of reminds me of like an old Earth, Wind and Fire song or something like that, where you listen to it and it just takes you every time you hear it. You know, you hear a different thing or puts you in a different frame of mind. You know, because when I was listening to it and then I was like, okay, where we gonna go at the end? And then it went to this whole other place, and I was like, oh, that's like mad cool. You know, it's almost like the song just was the song itself, and it just went where it went. Didn't have, you know, just kind of like you did let it do what it did, you know. That's mad cool, man. When did you write that song?
I've been writing it for a long time.
A long time.
It was just a matter of finding the right person to sing it, and Bulan, thank God, was the person. You know, it started out with a bass line just decades ago. You know, ba-doo-doo, 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 ba-doo-doo. You know, so
Right.
the idea was always up here in the vaults. It was just a matter of, you know, like when you're coming up with a lot of ideas, you can only finish so many. So some just have to sit back there and wait. And that was one of these songs that just had to wait.
Had to
I
wait,
just
yeah.
just never had a chance to get to it. Had I gotten in, had I gotten to it when I first raised it, um, I don't know what it would have been, but I think I can safely say it wouldn't have been this. I think I've grown as a person. I've learned more things as a person, and I think one of the things that kind of stopped me, that held me up from completing the song in the beginning, the transition going from the 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 first B section where the flute is carrying it back into the song. I couldn't come up with a change that felt convincing enough to get back into it. And sometimes I've had that hold me up on a song. Sometimes it's a chord progression that you cannot come with to take you back into an area, or lyrically it can be something that you just cannot find two words to fill a phrase that
Yeah.
say what you want to say.
Yeah.
You just don't want to put anything in there, you know and I think for me, that's my, I don't know if it's a Libra thing, but it's kind of like innately I have to feel balanced about the music, you know so sometimes something as small as that can hold me up. I know there's a song I have on my second album, Ridiculous, called Here I Go. It took me 20 years to write that song, and by that time I put it out, it was 2008. It
Right.
took me 20 years to finish
Right.
that song lyrically. I did not know what I wanted to say. I knew what I was seeing in my head, but I couldn't capture it in words.
Yeah, I got something like that that's just sitting there, and like I can hear it and see it, but I can't hear it and see it enough to hear it and see it to record it.
Right.
you know. And every time I do feel like I could probably do it, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's always at a
Exactly.
weird time for me,
Yeah.
and I think it's got to lock itself back in. I know what you're saying with that. You know, um, the recording process. Everybody has their own individual, but
Mm,
I can't not touch on this subject when it
yes.
comes to AI. There's a commercial out now that I hate it
Oh
and I
Lord.
like it.
I think
You
we
know
can
the
all
one I'm
agree.
talking
Yeah.
about. I'm like, you're killing me because, like, I like it because, yes, young people can do something finally that they probably couldn't do
Hmm.
before. And
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But at the same time, I just feel like not cheated, but like I feel like I want them to have to, and suffer is the wrong word, but I want them to have to put in some
Struggle.
serious
Struggle.
legwork mentally
Yes. Yes.
because I only think it'll just save them anguish in the long run when things don't pop like you want it all the time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on AI and the commercial I'm talking about because we all talk
Yes. I
about it.
know. It's the one with the is a blonde girl that
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
"I can just sing this and that," and then boom, and it's
yeah,
like, and I'm amazed that it
yes,
can do it.
yes.
You know, but as
Now to right, it's like, oh,
and it's like, okay, it does work. Um, my first reaction is, first of all, I'm not going to judge it because I realize that things are just not going to remain the way I've always known them
yeah,
forever.
and yeah,
And and
same.
and I've come to this moment many times in my life, and didn't want to be a part of it. When MIDI came in, I didn't want to do MIDI. I'm not a MIDI person. I've never used MIDI. Um, and other things that may have come along. I don't want to lose the struggle. I don't want to lose the ability to really think hard and really. I don't want to lose the emotion. You know, I I think I would rather use, if I were to dip into AI, use it for like my album cover, as I said, or possibly even a video, you know, and it all depends on how much you're willing to, how you construct it, and where it's coming from. I think overall, I don't want to lose what is art, what art means to me or means to us collectively. I don't want to use the art form. I don't want to not be able to think, because when you go in the way of AI, um, you kind of lose the sense of hard work and struggle. And let me just say that for me, just knowing me, it's like offering me, do you want to go out there and work for your money, or do I just give you a bunch of money and you can just lay on your couch? It really has a lot to do with what you're comfortable with. You know, I would think a lot of us would want to go out there and make our money, but who knows? I mean, but yeah, it's scary. It's very, very scary. I think
Yeah,
probably the
I mean,
most I would use for it, not having drums, and because I can beatbox, if I were to use it for drums, I wouldn't feel so bad about it. If I would just like, do something like that and see what it comes up with, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I I love working with people. I don't want to lose that connection.
yeah,
I do not want to lose. You know, losing that kind of connection is like leaving a crowded New York and moving out to suburban where it's quiet and you just can't feed off anybody.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't want to lose that. When people go up on stage and play with computers, or they put the lyrics up in front of them, okay, if that's what you want to do, fine. But I personally would rather you memorize the lyrics, memorize the music, and put your body into it. The last thing you should be concentrating on is reading stuff, because that means you have to put on your glasses. And, the only thing you should have on stage is your set list to read. That's it. And I remember many, I guess in the early 2000s, seeing people come up and I mean, they used to hide it, but now they were putting it on their mic stand
yeah,
and singing. And it obviously means that you're not rehearsing enough. So it's like, well, let's just have one rehearsal and I'll get my iPad and I'll just put it there on a presentable stand and I'll sing, and I'm not making eye contact with the crowd because I'm reading what's off that. That bothers me a lot,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
It's funny you say that because I'd rather sing the wrong words than have papers in front of me singing the right words.
Fake
I
it till
really
you
would.
make it.
Yeah.
Fake it till you
I
make
do
it.
that all the time. I'm like, you know what? Because it's more of a distraction to me than it is for some. Like I can't do it. I don't see how people do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I look down at a set list now and then, but a lot of times I already know going into it. I'm like, this is nowhere near right, but I'm gonna make it right.
Listen, there were a couple when I first had in the early years of the trip, and I think it was during the time when I was revamping it. I had a couple band members who were just they didn't last long, but I remember they tried to come up on stage with sheet music that I'd written out for them, and I told them, I said, no, you can't do that. You got to memorize the stuff. You have to memorize the stuff. We are not going to be a band with sheet music up here, and everyone had to learn their parts, and that's what rehearsal was for, you know. And as somebody who grew up playing classical guitar, it's easy to learn the the discipline of practicing and knowing the music so that you can express yourself, probably even beyond the written um, emotions and crescendos and decrescendos and fortissimos that are on the page, you know. So that's what AI represents to me, and it's
Yeah,
it's been happening. It's us as a society creating, and probably in a lot of industries, creating things to just make it easier for you to just sit on your ass and just not do anything. Self-driving cars. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I want to drive myself. And I
Yeah.
would worry about any of my family members or friends who are saying that, listen, I'll be there in a minute. I'm in a self-driving car. Then I have to get on my knees and start praying. I just hope they get there safely. You know, I'm sorry. There's just some things you need to do by yourself.
I agree.
You know?
I ain't there yet either.
You know, you just some things you just
Not
need
there
to
yet,
do
bro.
for yourself. You know, and if this is my generation, I can only hope, you know, I hope I live to my 90s and I'm strong and a strong bowel movement and my posture and everything. But I do not want to, this is not my time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't want to live by that. I enjoy and love what I grew up with my friends who are of like minds, that we believe in a certain work ethic and we're able to refuse what comes along. You know, we're at a point and an age in our life where we welcome some inventions. We say, oh yeah, this is good. We didn't have this when we were a kid, you know, and everything. But there's some things that we just, you know. No,
let me ask you this. Do you think the fact that technology has almost quadrupled itself, the more technology we use, do you feel we're getting away from our spiritual selves at some point?
Oh, yeah. That's something that worries me.
Right? That's interesting, right?
That's something that worries me. We're very connected to what is going on in real life, and we're losing our third eye.
Yeah.
And we
Agreed.
are getting so into what is in front of us and being turned on by our own brilliance. We're forgetting where it came from initially. We're forgetting we're forgetting self, and we're becoming selfish, even more selfish. And I think every decade had its degree of selfishness and greed and everything, but it has gotten, it's growing. I mean, we have an administration, and this is just not opinion, that demonstrates that. So it's coming from the top. And people tend to mock what is at the top. They think if they're doing it, then it's okay. Again, there are a lot of us who refuse to deal with that. You know? So we step back and we let other people converge, and they can fight for the whatever that sale is, and you know, and some of us are just like, no, I just, you know, I either want the item that I'm here to get, or I just don't want any items at all. We should still have, you cannot lose the ability to refuse, to be able to refuse. So in other words, I refuse technology and I'm sticking with God. You know, I've been blessed to live in a time where I think there was a great blend of both. And that's what I'm going to hold on to. And the more technology I see, the more towards God I want to walk.
Yeah.
You know, because that quiet space that a lot of us will eventually search for or do at this point is really the peace, you know, that we're looking for, and that is God. There's something in us that tells us what is right, what is righteous, and we cannot. We can become deaf. You know, as you brought up with hearing, we cannot lose the ability to hear that voice that keeps us, that says, this is wrong.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
absolutely wrong. This goes against something. Do not lose your morals. You know, I mean, if you can't believe in God, then hopefully you have a family that has strong values, that has instilled those in you, that you hear your mother and your father talking. I mean, to this day, it doesn't matter what issues I have with my dad or whatever. There's certain things I hear in the back of my head that he says that keeps me on a path. and even friends, close friends, who invested enough interest in me to make sure that I do right. I hear their voices. They're perfect examples for me. These are people who represent what is Godful. And you cannot lose that. So, you know, you it depends on who you surround yourself with. You know, misery loves company, and you have to be sure that you don't get involved in that. All that stuff up there, with Diddy and all those guys, I'm sure all those things are super attractive. You know, I went through a period as a young man where I was wild and everything. Thank God they didn't have cell phones back then.
Oh my God.
A good period. You know, thank God they did not have cell phones back then.
Oh my God. Thank you.
You understand? So I have to thank God. You know what? He got me through this period pretty much unscathed. You know, there are a lot of things I would have done differently. But if you reach a certain age and if wisdom kicks in, then listen and use it. Do not ignore it. Do not ignore your angels. Do not ignore what is good, because what we fail to realize is that being good is not fashionable. Good is good.
Yeah.
The things that have always been good from day one. And don't let anybody fool you. We know what is bad, because we know if it can happen to us, that's the gauge. We know what is bad.
Yeah.
So to get involved in all of this, to mask all of that and tell me otherwise, or try to convince me that because I have a lot of money coming in and I can afford this and I can do this and I can forget about where I was, that may not be too healthy. You know, we have, like, I've always grown up with a middle class state of mind. I have to hold on to that, because it makes me see both sides. It makes me see what could happen to me if I were to become destitute, or see people who were destitute, and seeing people who have become so successful, but it didn't keep them out of trouble. You know, so wherever you are in life, don't lose it. Don't lose your God. Don't lose your beliefs. Don't lose what is good. And don't lose the care for others. Be fearless and do the right thing. You know.
I was listening to some of the things that you were saying, which is a perfect segue into this next track that you did for us. We're hanging out today with my dog Shindig, Dig Deep, and that project now has been ongoing and forever will be going, until the Big Bang. So, I'm fortunate enough to have this brother on the show many times, Mark Lee, and I really appreciate it. I see Mark has actually joined us. So let me know if you're ready to pop through, Mark, after this next one, all right? If you have any questions. Again, I'm slightly under the weather, but I'm forging through. It's all good. Don't forget, smash that like button. And please subscribe. All my people on the West Coast, all my people on the East Coast, the North, South, all around the world for the funk. We love you all. And don't think that we don't, because you know that we do. But y'all check this out, man. This is deep. Another one. I really like this one. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Let's get it sound. Come on. Let's get it sound. Let's get it sound. The sound is steady. So slim, so slender. With a wind so itty bitty. Let's get it sound. It's put together quickly. Not ears to completion, but rather so simply.
Mark Lee, how are you?
You was in one on that one, man. You was
Yeah.
definitely
Also, I
in
was dancing too. I was
Yo, man, I did just like so many words. First of all, congrats.
Thank you,
And
man.
I'm glad you're actually just loving what you're doing, man, because it definitely shows all throughout your music and the way you're expressing yourself now in 2026.
Thank
We
you.
need it. We need it, man, because believe me, we need everybody to just put everything out there. We need it, bro. Just and
Thank
that's
you.
definitely see because when I hear that other stuff you be doing back there underneath that makes you that thing I'm always telling you about. I hear it when it always kicks in. It always makes me smile. I was like, there it is. There's the signature. I can't explain it. It's just something that you know what I'm saying. It's just something
Right.
that you do that is there that when you start like whacking it and whatever it is that you do. I'm like, because I wait and I hear for it, I listen for it. I was like, let me hear that signature, let me hear it. And then when you start hitting it like that, I'm like, there it is, bro. Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
thanks,
dope.
man.
Um, so who else was on that particular track?
Not too many people. My daughter Ruby is the one doing like some of the vocal highs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I asked her to come down
Okay,
and do that. And it's Sean Dixon, my drummer, is on there. And actually not too many people. It was Sean. I did the guitars, bass, and the vocals. That's it. So not too much. It's really just me, Sean, and my daughter. That was it.
yeah, yeah, because it's funny because like sometimes when you hear a track and you're used to hearing it like as a full band, and then you hear, and then the same person will do something, right? And you'll just
Yeah,
hear elements of it, but it'll still have that still same thing, but it'll still be such an individual track, you
yeah,
know. Um, and yeah, yeah, and I love to hear music like that because it just takes me to another place, where you can still hear you and then
yeah,
still hear that other you. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
My
You
my,
have
my
a
friend.
lot of nice compliments and things that were said,
Yeah.
about that track too. They were definitely in the thread. So
Oh,
when you get
okay.
a chance, you can go back. But they loving the skinny, so that's what's up. What
Thanks.
do you think, Mark?
Oh, I love that song. Like I said, that song got a nice beat and a real good rhythm. And like I said, when I was listening to him after Dick sent him to him and all along those lines, I was like, wait a minute, this music is off the like off the chain, as the young folks like to say, and everything like that. So it was some great music, and I was really enjoying it all in that kind of way because you always got some great sounds and everything like that. I guess the question I was curious to ask you, and all along those lines,
Yeah,
and it's where I was going to go in my part of the conversation and everything like that, is I'm a big fan of using cross cultural references and tying the music together. We've talked before about how the blues and jazz are tied together, but I'm a big fan of music that borrows from various parts of the world. And I know that you
yeah,
have different parts of your own heritage and everything like that that you incorporate in your music. But I just wondering your thoughts around that because I'm a big fan, whether it's the music of African. We know like
mm,
when some of the rockers got together with some of the African musicians and everything like that, or whether
yeah.
it's like the Brazilian sound that can be incorporated in rap and definitely in funk and everything like that. So
Hmm.
my question to you is how important is it for us to incorporate various parts of culture into the music that we are having people create?
It is very important. Um, it's not that I started off thinking that way. I think I may have just been fortunate that number one, going back to ears, as Zach and I or Zach brought up earlier, I was able to just hear everything, and everything has stayed in my brain. I was born in England, so I grew up when I was born, the British invasion was taking off. So
Right.
I heard that. The rest of my family are born Jamaican, so that's my immediate culture. Going back to Jamaica with my family at 5, I heard all Jamaican music, I heard Mento, I heard Rastafarian chant music, I heard rocksteady, I heard reggae, and we got every R&B pop song. I mean, everything from Sam and Dave to Engelbert Humperdinck,
Mhm.
you know, and all that music just it just it just
Humperdinck.
stayed in there. I'm telling you, you know, and the Jackson 5, and then when the 70s came along and funk really took off, that was a big thing to take in. But I'm not only just taking in what George and Sly and Spinners were, I'm taking in what influenced them,
Mhm.
what has come back for them, blues, whatever. I'm somehow unseeingly taking all of that in. So I'm sucking up everything that's wrong because that's how popular music of the day. The Brothers Johnson, Commodores, Barcades, Shaka Khan, you name it. Then hip hop comes along, and I'm resistant for quite some years because I really didn't think it was going to go over, and I'm unfamiliar with it. But it starts to sink in. You can't help it, and then I hear what Slick Rick.
Mhm.
Slick Rick catches my ear. Then Public Enemy, which that does it for me. That's
Right.
like, oh, this is it.
P.E.
I was introduced to Fela,
Mhm.
and just Fishbone, Take Six, Los Lobos. This was just all good music, and I think I've just always appreciated really good stuff. Q-Tip, all these guys, and it's not sometimes just picking liking the group, but it's probably liking particular songs that they did that rang true for me. And I just have this vault in my head of just not only my own music, but music I've listened to for the last 60 years. It just stays in there. So what I've done is even on Spotify, I made up my own playlist of songs that were very, excuse me, endearing to me. So all that music is important. It's very important to creativity. When I started in New York, as they lifted the when I no let me start this way. A girlfriend of mine introduced me to the jam sessions that they would have in New York. They'd have these particular nights where they had open jazz jam sessions. A lot of these small clubs, which were all probably all Irish bars that they could have music in, because of the cabaret laws, you couldn't have more than three people on stage, right? The best three piece to play music, if it's not rock, it's blues. And blues came first. So you have a lot of blues playing in New York. The Holmes brothers, Frankie Paris, different, people. I forget some names, but there was a lot of blues in New York. And I got caught up in that. That was a whole other kind of education because it didn't matter how much you knew, you had to play the blues and you had to keep the format and you had to be simple, you know. And I learned a lot playing in those jam sessions and taking leadership from whoever was running the band at the same time, and it kind of teaches you how to stay within the framework. You find a way to do a lot, but within the framework, you know when to pull back. So blues taught me a lot. And then when you realize that blues is the basis for a lot of other musics that come along, then you realize then all the other things that are going, no matter what's going on with them, how much orchestration they may have put in them, it all started from somewhere really, really simple, you know? And it's funny, in essence, that song, The Skinny Sound, was me just going after simplicity. That's why the instrumentation is so limited or sounds, there are no keyboards in there, you know, And my friends would always joke whenever I was coming up with something. They're like, "How many tracks are you going to do this time? You're going to do what? 200 this time?" You know, because they know me for layering, and I wanted to get away from that. So this was my opportunity to build the Skinny Sound is all about simplicity, and that can
Right.
apply to music, or it can even apply to your life. How simple do you want to keep things in your life? And that's what the Skinny Sound is about. I don't know if you heard this, Mark, but I was saying that the blues taught me that all other music comes from that, and that blues is wide. It's international, you know. It's
Yeah.
because everything, especially music, comes from a simple place, and as we know more, the music grows. But
No.
that's what it means to me. Of just like, I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire was a great representation of the merging of styles. You know, they had that Latin influence, they had that jazz influence, they had that funk influence, and then eventually that pop influence, and they were the greatest thing to me. You know, I don't. I want you to know something that in the Skinny Sound, I had to do I had to do a tribute to Sugarfoot.
Oh
So when I
yeah.
scat with the guitar, that
Right.
No,
Right.
Sugarfoot is my whatever Jimi Hendrix is to other people. That's what Sugarfoot is to me.
Yeah,
So
boy.
I had to just lay my
Yeah.
down. 'Cause
Sugarfoot ain't no
nobody,
joke and everything like that. Ain't no doubt about that.
nobody did it better.
No, just really quickly, because
Yeah.
I definitely know you and Zach have connections to
Mm,
New York and all along those lines. But
mm.
there is a great blues song that I remember that had a little bit of a funk beat to it as well. But I was wondering, did you ever get a chance to connect with Michael Hill's Blues Mob? Because
Oh
they had
yeah,
this song called New
yeah,
York State of Blues that is
yeah,
a classic and all along
yeah.
those lines.
I used to watch my I know who he is, and I used to see all these guys, and it was great to watch them. I mean, getting out of your house or getting out of school and going on the scene and learning, that was the best way to do it. And at
Mhm.
that time, that's when the explosion happened in New York, because when they lifted the cabaret laws, let's say for instance, there was this place called Dan Lynch, which was on Second Avenue, close to 14th Street. The cabaret laws were so strict, we that you you could only have three people on there. If you needed a second guitarist, he had to play off stage,
Mm.
Right.
unseen.
I remember. Right.
He could not be on there, or you could lose your license.
Well,
Yeah.
When that fell, then the band explosion happened. Everybody brought this and that, and it was great timing because it was just around that time that I had the idea to put the trip together, and it just kind of came together. The timing was good. So there were all these bands all over the place, and you could pick, choose, and refuse who you want to listen to on any given night. And you could listen to some progressive funk band or whatever, jazz band or whatever, but the blues was always there in some small club that was packed with people listen to shuffles. You know, Bobby Bell, Grant Green Jr. These guys used to kill, particularly Grant Green Jr. Grant Green had a serious, I mean, you would just sit there all night for like 4 or 5 sets. I remember, I remember one night I'm watching them, and he had a star lineup. He had a friend of mine, Pierre Andre, who was one of the best saxophonists to this day. He had that flavor of Junior Walker, but he had his own thing. He had this guy Kenji Hino that played bass. Sometimes he would have this guy Tony. What was Tony's name? Tony Morgan, who was a brilliant bass player. When I saw this guy play bass, I couldn't play bass for like what seemed like 2 or 3 months. I couldn't touch my bass. I thought I was the shit. And I saw this guy and I was like, oh my God, I have to regroup. I gotta
I
go back to the
know.
drawing board.
It's
And he had,
painful when that happens.
I'm telling you, man. And he had this guy Luigi on drums, this guy Scott on keyboards, and himself on guitar. And it was just they played cover songs and they were just fabulous. So we would just go and just watch them all night. So the whole night, I want to, and I'm drinking, I'm having orange juice, and then I think, well, I want to drink something with alcohol in it. Maybe if I drink like a vodka and orange juice, I won't it won't bother me. So I'm drinking the whole night. I'm sitting there, I don't feel any kind of buzz. But I don't realize that I have this big smile on my face. That's just like I'm just beaming because I'm enjoying myself. I'm up front and I'm seeing incredible musicians play for till 3 or 4 in the morning. Incredible music, and you're taking it all in. This is a class. You take what you see and you bring it back to your band, or So I get up, and everything starts rocking like this. I didn't realize that it was starting to have an effect because I didn't feel it sitting down. I thought I was still in control. I get outside, I walk down the stairs, I have to run across the street into somebody's little vestibule area, and everything just went boom. I was drunk as shit and didn't know.
Wow.
And it's a good thing, you live in Manhattan, so nowhere is far. So I had to walk the whole way home trying to make sure that I stepped right. But that was the fun of New York. It's like I got drunk because I saw such a fantastic band. I was so caught up in them that I didn't realize that I was getting fucked up.
Yeah, the music vibrations will always do that to you, and the algorithms and the rhythms, because when I'm around a lot of low end like that, right, it does something to my body, and I have to usually, it takes me a day or two to shake it off. You know what I mean? Because you can literally feel your body.
Hello.
When you were, putting together this new material, we got one more. I think the name of it is
I hope it's
Love All Around You.
Yeah, spread your love all around you.
Yeah, spread your love all around. Yeah, we're gonna run that one in a minute, right? Okay. But where can people find your material at, and where do you have to go, and where's it located?
Well, right now we're on Spotify, and then we're on a lot of other, because I go through DistroKid, which is a great place to put your music through so far. It sends it out to a whole bunch of other places. So it's
another spot. Yeah.
iTunes, Apple Music, and just a list of them. So pretty much if you dig deep in Dignity album as spelled, with 2 G's, it'll come up. And
right.
We're also on Bandcamp.
Okay, Bandcamp too. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways now to get the music in so many platforms, which is good. That's the good thing about technology and AI for us, to continue to be able to put our music out. So you guys hang tough. Let me know what you think about this one. Please stay active, and everybody that's, tuning in on the chat line, we appreciate you, man. And don't forget Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV, each and every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Y'all check this one out right here.
What is the deal?
That's deep. That's deep, man. That's deep. Congratulations, man, and
Thank you, man.
keep giving it to us like that, man.
Uh,
Because right now we are definitely in that jungle state. You know,
yes,
no
yes.
matter what people say or don't say, or you know, right now music is the only thing that we all truly have. That's the one thing in common. You know, is
Yeah.
music. You
And
know,
I think it's so much more
we got to
important.
keep doing that, man.
And I think, it is so important to have a vast consciousness of positivity. We really, the I don't know how to put it because I don't want to sound prim and proper, but as we said before, we know within ourselves what is right. And I think even as a culture, we have to be very careful about how we present ourselves, and what we put out there. So, the string bikini, flossing music, I, we just have to really, we have a lot of work to do, you know, and we just have to be careful about how we're viewed, and how what we're tied in. I mean, freedom is good, but even freedom has its limits. You know what I mean? I mean, that's why we have traffic lights. You just can't zoom through. Somebody has to stop, somebody has to go. So there has to be some sort of order, so that people live and
Yeah.
live well. So I think that well, I can't find the right words, but I'm just
No,
saying that
Dig, I love
let
the
the
title of that song, "Spread Your Love," because definitely that's something we need to have more of in this world. I think that's what definitely Zach was alluding to and everything like that. But I do have just
yeah.
one other quick question. Is part of that "Spread Your Love" and all along those lines. But I know that there have been some famous jazz musicians. I know the show's called Funk from the Funk Seat, and definitely I love, as you know, the funk music. Also love blues and everything like that. But I
Hmm.
also admire a lot of musicians that are hard to categorize and all along those lines. And I would put you in that category and everything like that because I think your music could go in a variety of categories. It can go in jazz, it can go in pop, it can go in funk, it can go in a number of other things. So I was wondering
Yeah.
how important is that for you that you can't really be put in a single box and everything like that? Because I think a lot of times musicians are able to get that kind of vibe that they can. Because I remember, like, I want to say it was maybe John Coltrane, it might have been Miles, but he was like, I
Yeah.
know good music. I don't necessarily want to be categorized in one particular style of music and everything like that.
I agree with that. And I think coming back to what you had asked me before about what did you ask me? You said where does my music come from, or where do
Right.
my inspiration? It's everywhere. If it's everywhere, it's hard to just really squeeze it into a box and stay there because you don't get to explore yourself. You know, if a record company wants you to put out the same music as the last hit you had or whatever, um, you just don't know. You don't know who you are or what you're capable of if you're always able just to do this one thing. So as you said, like what Miles Davis said. I mean, I I come from a place of R&B funk. I come from black music. That much I know. You know, however that spreads, I don't know. But I come from a place of black music. That's been my main influence, my main grounding. Anything else would be a total lie. But I love Dean Martin. I love Burt Bacharach. I love Led Zeppelin. However that plays into it, it'll surface somehow. But I know what my grounding is. My grounding is black music, inspired by Black Americans and inspired by Jamaicans. That's where my music comes from, and it spreads out. But as far as like putting all that I've done into a category, I mean, I tried coming up with a category called music noir. I don't know how long it stuck for, but if I had to categorize it, I just put it in. I came up with this label just to kind of stop that dialogue of like, so what is your music? I just give them something and get out. But I like being able to explore,
Right.
you know, You know, I know everybody loves to dance. I know everybody loves a 2 and 4. So that's not something we can get away from. You know, that's natural. But what goes on top of it, it could be anything. And I think it deserves that exploration. And
it's funny, like,
no, I was just going to say, I'm kind of glad that I haven't gotten signed, because it gave me the opportunity to create more. You know?
Yeah. We got 5 minutes literally left with you, and I wanted to give you the full screen because, you know, I want to thank StreamYard and everybody else that helps us cut these up into shorts, because we were talking about AI. So we do utilize AI for some of our stuff. So as well as I see the pros, I see the cons, but I also want to mention, thank you, AI, helping us cut up our shorts, which is great. And all our new peeps that we met and all our new friends. And, you know, Shindig is a regular on the show, and he'll be coming back periodically, you know, a couple of months from now with some new stuff, as always. But I'm going to give this brother the full screen, man. So
listen, before you do that, can I ask you one little favor?
Oh, sure.
Can you send Skinny Sound to Bootsy? I would love for him to hear it. I just
sure.
I would want to know what he thought.
Okay.
You can do me that little favor. I would just want somebody of his magnitude just to hear what he thinks. You know?
I'll send it to Patty. I'll run it up the ladder.
Okay,
It's the least I can do. It's the least I can do, man. Oh, yeah, I'm giving you the full screen, right? You can tell I am so lethargic today, man. I'm sorry, Mark.
You're giving him the full screen. I'm going to pull everybody off.
Yeah, I feel like my head is underwater.
Okay. Hey, everybody. How it is. Good to see you. As always, I'm always happy to be here. Thanks to those who turned up. And, you know, I hope that you really give my album a good listen. I would love some reviews. I'd really love to know what you thought about it, you know, after putting in all that work. Because it helps me, you know, as I move on in music, what to do and what not to do. So I would really appreciate if anyone were to, if you all could give it a listen and just give me your thoughts, write some kind of review on it. That'd be great. I'm always happy to be here at Funk in the Front Seat, Funk from the Front Seat, and discussing issues beyond the music, you know. And I want to give a big thanks to Zach and Mark for allowing me to be on this platform. And I just want to encourage you all to keep things, do the best you can, you know, just do the best you can. And let's help heal this world, your neighborhood, you know, and really plan things for the children. Really, really do, because we're set in our ways. They're the ones who are going to carry it on. So do right by them if you can't do right by yourself. Thank you.
Yo, man, that's very powerful and appreciate it. And, you know, the fact that we've been friends all this long and still able to make music and share our stories and our journeys, man. Sometimes it's more special than the music itself, man. I just want to tell you that, man. I appreciate you, man. And we'll see you real soon. Come back, everybody. Don't forget, smash that like button. Please subscribe. Always the power of the one. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out on Funk from the Front Seat right here on 9 on the Grind TV. You can catch us wherever you catch us.
You know, how you feel, but you just have to fit it between that space, that little space that you got, which is one. You know, one. You know, one. And then you would try to fit your different notes, but you felt in between it, like, you know, and that's the funk. you can change that. You know, and that's the funk. And you can change that.
True essence of the funk is the power of the one. It's the power of the one. You know this funk has just begun. You can lean on me, let your mind be free, mama. Night shall not won't die. But I need the funk, baby. Benson, hit back. of the funk is the power of the one, Bob. One!